Okay, guys, I'm held against my will, and Miss Pettis is making me do this, so I have to act like it's the best thing in the whole world. Oh my god! It is! It's so fun! No, it's not really. But okay, so we're going to start with number 1, and we're going to start with A. It says, how high is a rocket after 2 seconds? Well, you want to look at the seconds, and then you're going to go to the number 2, and then you're going to go all the way up to where it touches the line, so right here, and it's at 12, so that's your answer right there, so it's going to be 12. And then it says right there for 7 seconds, so you're going to go to 7, and then you're going to go all the way up to where it touches, like, right there. That's a retarded dot. Okay, well, and that one's at 8, so that's the answer right there. OMG, that was so hard. And then it says, at what times was the rocket 12 meters off the ground? Well, right here you already know it's going to be 2, so you're going to go to the meter side and you're going to go to 12. You're going to go to the first one, which is 2, and then you're going to go all the way up to the other side to where it touches the line again, and that's on 6, so it's going to be 2 and then 6. This says, what is the vertex? The vertex is always going to be your maximum and minimum, so you're going to try to see, well, is it high or is it low? This one's has its highest point, so that's going to be a maximum. So it's going to be your x first, so you're going to go to your 4, because that's where the highest point is. So you're going to start with 4, you're going to go all the way up to 16. So your x always goes first, so it's going to be 4, 16. After how many seconds did the rocket hit the ground? Oh yeah, I forgot the parentheses. Oh, like that? Perfect. Okay. After how many seconds did the rocket? Okay, so started at 0 and it goes all the way up and then it goes all the way down again and it ends at 8, so that's your answer right there. Okay, so E is, what does the vertex represent in this situation? So you're going to have to write out a sentence for that. And your vertex, you already know your vertex is 4, 16. So you want to say, after 4 seconds hit its max of 16 meters would be the answer. F says, determine a reasonable domain and range that represents this situation. Your domain is always going to be your x, and your range is always going to be your y. So you want to try and look for, you want to try to look at your time right here, because that's your x. So you're going to start right here, that's where it touches at 0, and then this other side where it touches at 8, so you already have that. So it's going to be 0, and these thingies, and 8. And since both numbers are on there, you're going to underline them. And then for your y, you're going to look for that, and you're going to start with 0 since it touches. And then you're going to go all the way up to 16, that's where it touches right there also. So you're going to put 0, And also again, since both numbers are on the graph, you're going to underline them. On this one, the following table shows the values for quadratic function h. If negative 2 is one solution for hx equals 0, what is the other solution? Well, right here you see 0. That is your y right there. Y. So that means that that's your y. And that right there is where your first 0 is. So you're going to try to look for your other 0, which is all the way over here. Since negative 2 is your first one, and that's for that 0, then 3 is for that 0. So you already have your answer right there. And it's going to be x equals 3. For number 3, it says draw the axis of symmetry. So you're just going to want to draw the line. Okay. That was wrong. Now for your vertex, you already saw that your vertex for number 1, it was like an upside down U. So this one's a normal U or V or whatever you want to call it. Since this one is going down, that's going to be your minimum. So for right here, it's the low one. So you want to go to negative 2 and negative 1. And that's your answer right there. And like I had said before, this one's a normal U or V or whatever.
It opens up.
And since it goes down, it's going to be your minimum. The equation for the line of symmetry, it's already on here for you. It's always x equals, so you're going to write x equals, and then wherever it ends, right there.
It's always going to be the x value from your vertex. So since we have negative 2 for the x, that's what we're going to use. They're always, your line of symmetry and your vertex are always together. It's like a couple. So wherever one is, that's where the other one's going to be.
Okay. For the x-intercepts, we're going to look for where it crosses the x-axis, which means where it's those lines right here. So where it crosses on both sides. So your first one's going to be negative 3, since negative 2, negative 3, and then negative 1. So it's going to be negative 3 and 0 for your first one, and then negative 1 and 0 for your second.
Good. So I'm going to go ahead and do 4 and 5 for y'all. Thank you, ma'am, for doing those for us.
Don't say my name.
So let's look at number 4 and 5. So these are going to be the last two that we're going to do. And I'm going to move it up and I'm going to zoom in just a little bit because I'm old and I need to see the paper. So looking at this one right here, we're going to go ahead and factor this out. Now I know it's asking for the values of a and b. So if a and b are roots, so we know we're going to have to factor it out and set it equal to 0. So let's do that part first. I look at my last number, which in this case is negative 40. I'm going to make a little t-chart of all the multiples for 40. So let's start with the very first one. You have 1 and 40. Now notice how these two are negative. So when I factor it out, I'm going to have x minus whatever the big number is, in this case 40, and then an x plus whatever the smaller number is. So 1 plus a negative 40, that's equal to negative 39. So that's not going to work. We need it to add up to negative 18. So let's try the next one. Does 2 go into 40? Yes, it does. So 2 and negative 20. When I combine those, I get a negative 18, which is exactly what we're looking for right here. So those are the magic numbers that multiply to negative 40 and add up to negative 18. So plug those in. Now, we have to set it equal to 0 to find the actual root. So remember, whenever we set it equal to 0, all we're really doing is just changing those signs. So if it's a negative 20 inside the parentheses, outside it's going to be a positive 20. And if it's a positive 2 on the inside, when I take it out, it's going to be a negative 2. So those are my roots. Now, we have to do an extra step. They want to know if A is greater than B, so 20 is bigger than negative 2, so that's my A, that's my B. What is the value of A minus B? So what is 20 minus a negative 2? Well, hopefully you said 22. If not, you'll have a calculator in class, and you can use that. Alright, last one. What are the factors of x squared minus 121? Well, unlike the one above it, you have a negative 18x. You're missing that middle term. You're missing your b. So, whenever that happens, you know your factors are going to have one positive and one negative. And these two numbers, your magic numbers, are going to be the same. So what number times itself gives you 121? 11. Good. So that's it. Miss Pasquale is going to do the video for the second and third page, and Miss Elizondo is going to do the video for the very last page. If you have any questions, please come to tutoring. Make sure you study for your test. It's this Friday.